The Galactic Council had warned Mara Jin that taking the assignment on Verith Prime would be difficult. What they hadn't mentioned was that she'd become an accidental mother to 6 apex predator cubs who thought water was a weapon. Mara stepped into the shower stall of her habitat module, letting out a grateful sigh as the warm spray hit her shoulders. 3 weeks of cataloging xenobotanical specimens in the humid jungle had left her covered in a film of purple pollen and something that smelled disturbingly like fermented fruit. She closed her eyes, reaching for the soap dispenser. The shrieking started immediately. Alarm! Alarm! Mara Mother is under attack! Mara's eyes snapped open just in time to see Creevy, all 60 pounds of scaled fury and retractable claws, come barreling through the bathroom door she'd foolishly left unlocked. The cub's violet eyes were wild with panic, his crest fully extended in what his species considered a threat display. Creevy, no, too late. The young Virati launched himself directly into the shower stall, positioning his body between Mara and the shower head. Water cascaded over his iridescent scales as he hissed at the ceiling, claws extended, ready to fight the invisible enemy. It's just water. Mara sputtered, trying to shield her body with her arms while simultaneously preventing Creevy from destroying the plumbing. It's not attacking me. But Creevy wasn't listening. His siblings had heard his alarm call, and now the bathroom was filling with concerned predators. Sella and Vorn crashed through next, their adolescent bodies skidding on the wet tile. They took flanking positions, snarling at the showerhead with all the ferocity their species was known for across 3 star systems. Mara Mother, we protect! Vorn declared, his translator collar barely keeping up with his agitated chittering. Skywater is hostile. The Skywater is called a shower, and I do this every day. Mara tried to explain, water dripping into her eyes. She'd encountered Thorian death worms, navigated bureaucratic nightmares at the Galactic Commerce Hub, and once talked down a Zelnarian berserker with nothing but an etymology textbook and sheer audacity. But explaining human hygiene to alien cubs might actually break her. The remaining 3 cubs, Tikka, Masa, and little Grep, poked their heads around the doorframe, their eyes huge with worry. Grep, the youngest at barely 4 months old, let out a plaintive keen that translated roughly to, "Is Mother dying?" Mara's heart melted despite the chaos. The cub's actual mother had been killed by poachers 6 weeks ago, and Mara had found them huddled in a burrow malnourished and terrified. The Virati were supposed to be unstoppable hunters, the apex species of their world. But these babies had looked at her with such desperate hope that she'd broken about 15 interspecies contact protocols by taking them in. Nobody is dying, Mara said firmly, trying to project calm even as Creevy attempted to bite the showerhead. Humans need to wash. We don't have your self-cleaning scales. This is normal for my species. Sella's head tilted, water streaming off her elegant crest. But the skywater falls on you, like the hurting rain in the deep jungle that burns skin. Ah, that explained everything. Mara carefully reached past Creevy and turned off the shower. In the sudden silence, 6 pairs of eyes stared at her with a mixture of confusion and protective fury. Okay, everyone out. We're going to have a lesson. 10 minutes later, Mara sat wrapped in a towel on her bunk, surrounded by damp predators. She'd pulled up her tablet and was showing them videos from Earth. This is rain on my homeworld, she explained, displaying footage of a gentle spring shower. See? It doesn't hurt. Human children play in it. The cubs watched, mesmerized, as human kids splashed in puddles and laughed. But what about acid rain? Tikka asked suspiciously. We learned about Earth's damaged atmosphere in the data feeds. That was fixed 100 years ago, Mara said patiently. And even when it was a problem, it wasn't like your hurting rain. Your planet has rain that falls through reactive spores in your upper atmosphere. Earth doesn't have that. Creevy, who had positioned himself closest to Mara with his head on her knee, let out a low rumble. So shower is not danger? Shower is not danger. Shower is necessary. I promise. Masa, the most thoughtful of the litter, spoke up. But why do humans need artificial rain inside their dens? Our scales clean themselves. Because humans are weird, Mara admitted with a grin. We sweat when we're hot, we don't have protective scales, and we collect dirt like it's our job. If I don't shower regularly, I start to smell bad. You already smell strange, Grep piped up innocently. Like no fur and sweetgrass. The other cubs chittered in agreement, and Mara had to laugh. Thanks, kid. Real confidence booster. Vorn shifted closer, his expression serious. But if shower is normal, why did you close the door? If you hide it, we think danger happening. And there it was. The real issue. Mara had been trying to maintain some semblance of privacy, some boundary between herself and her charges. But to the cubs, who had never been separated from their mother for a moment before her death, closed doors meant secrets. Secrets meant danger. You're right, Mara said softly. She reached out and stroked Queevy's crest, feeling the delicate scales smooth under her fingers. I'm sorry I scared you. I'll leave the door open from now on. But I need you all to understand shower is safe. It's part of how I stay healthy. Just like how you need to sunbask to regulate your temperature. We can watch? Sela asked hopefully. To make sure no danger comes? Mara suppressed a sigh. Privacy was apparently going to remain a distant dream. You can sit outside the shower and watch if it makes you feel better. But no more attacking the plumbing, understand? That shower head costs 200 credits to replace. And I've already filed 3 maintenance requests this month. We understand. Mara mother. The cubs CHORUSED as they settled down for their afternoon nap. Curled around her in a protective pile of scales and claws. Mara reflected on the absurdity of her situation. She'd come to Verith Prime to study plants. Instead, she'd become guardian to 6 predators who thought indoor. Plumbing was a mortal threat. The Galactic Council was never going to believe her reports, but as Creevy's gentle snoring rumbled against her leg, and little Grep's tail curled trustingly around her arm, Mara found she didn't care. Let the bureaucrats question her methods. These cubs were alive, healthy, and learning about the universe beyond their planet, even if that education had to include detailed explanations of why humans needed to stand under artificial rain. Tomorrow, she'd tackle explaining soap. Today, she'd just appreciate having the galaxy's most dedicated if somewhat confused protection detail.